Kids in America are often taught a very specific script for success. Study hard, get good grades, go to a good college, get a stable, good paying job. It's a really respectable path, but it misses one of the most important financial truths in our capitalism based society. If you don't teach your kids and grandkids this one lesson, they could do everything right, get the high paying job, but still end up trapped on a financial hamster wheel for the rest of their lives. So, what's the lesson? Building assets. It's the difference between labor and ownership. Or to put it bluntly, if you never own assets, you'll always have to trade your time for money. And if you always trade your time for money, you'll essentially have to keep working until you die. I'm Josiah Martin, a certified financial planner professional, and today we're going to break down how to give your kids and grandkids a massive head start on life by teaching them the concept of asset ownership. And just to be clear, this isn't a debate about whether our economic system is perfect. You don't have to love every part of the system to understand how it works. But in the system we live in, ownership matters. Now, to explain this to a kid, you have to start where they are. So let me tell you a story from when I was young. I started mowing lawns in my neighborhood when I was 12. One of the best jobs ever. I worked hard outside in the sun, got the yards looking nice and clean. And at the end of the day, I had cash in my pocket to take to the pool to buy ice cream sandwiches. This was active income, meaning my labor earned me money one for one. But as a young teen, I read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. He promotes the idea that financial freedom comes from making money work for you rather than working for money. I quickly realized a harsh truth. The lawn mowing dollars stopped the exact second I stopped working. If I took vacation, went to college, or if I just wanted to take a summer off, my income dropped to zero. That's the trap of purely active income. Your time and energy are limited, which means your ability to earn is also limited. But what if I took a different approach? If I took the $5,000 a year I made sweating behind a lawnmower and put it into a Roth IRA, buying index funds, then it could historically earn an 8 to 10% return. And an 8% return is $400 a year for doing absolutely nothing. $400 was the equivalent of me mowing 20 yards, and I didn't have to break a sweat. That's the power of ownership. Your labor earns you money once, while assets can earn you money indefinitely. When we talk to our kids about what they want to be when they grow up, many families focus on high income jobs, be a doctor, engineer, lawyer, etc. But word of caution, high income does not equal wealth. Tell them about our hypothetical earner, Eric. Eric is a corporate sales machine who makes $500,000 a year, but he spends all of his money on a luxurious lifestyle. He's got a big mortgage, fancy cars, expensive vacations, private schools, and at the end of the month, Eric has almost nothing left to invest. While he appears very wealthy to the world, Eric can't stop selling. He can't quit his job. He can't retire. His lifestyle has trapped him because he hasn't built any assets that will produce income when he stops working. Now, contrast Eric with a real historical figure named Ronald Reed. Ronald was a janitor and a gas station attendant in Vermont. He never made a high salary, but when Ronald passed away, he shocked everyone, including his family, by leaving behind an estate worth $8 million, much of which he gave to his local library and hospital. How did a janitor amass so much? Well, because Ronald Reed quietly invested in dividend-paying stocks for the many decades of his life. He didn't flip houses, buy crypto, or win the lottery. He just decided to consistently over time turn his labor into capital by buying good assets and holding them for a long time. Now, don't get me wrong, a high income is amazing because it gives you tons of excess cash flow to buy assets. I'd take a high income over a low income any day. But if you squander it, you can still fall behind someone earning much less. This is the ultimate lesson for your kids and grandkids. When they get a job, encourage them to not just spend it all, but rather to diligently use it to convert their earned income into ownership. There used to be a day where people worked 40 years for a company and got a pension for life. Those opportunities are few and far between now. And have you looked at the financial strength of Social Security? I don't think it's going away anytime soon, but it sure is on shaky footing right now. But that's a topic for another video. So, how do we make this practical for kids? How do you explain an asset to a 9-year-old or a 14-year-old? First, keep it simple. Teach them that an asset is something that puts money in your pocket, whether you're awake or asleep. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. Now, those aren't the technical definitions like I learned in my accounting major, but I think they're more practical. Here are some examples. Stocks. Explain that when you buy a share of an S&P 500 index fund, you literally own a tiny piece of Apple, Amazon, and Google. When those companies make money and grow, you benefit. Second, real estate, related to the game of Monopoly. You buy a property, someone lands on it, they pay you rent. If you spend the whole game going around the board, only collecting the $200 from pass and go, you'll quickly lose to the people who bought up the property, the houses, and the hotels. Rental real estate is much more complicated than index funds, that's for sure, but it can be a great way to build and maintain wealth. Third, businesses. If you own a business with employees, you can grow it to a place where it operates without you. And lastly, I'll mention cars. They're a liability. Almost all are depreciating assets that go down in value and cost lots of money over time. There might be a few collector cars that go up in value, but the majority of cars you see on the road are going down in value each and every year. Another side note, I've had a rental property, I have a business right now, and I can say with certainty that passively owning stocks is by far the easiest. You don't need to and should not pressure kids to be an entrepreneur or a landlord as the only path to ownership. Far from it. Someone can get very wealthy and have a very secure retirement by being an employee their entire career, so long as they invest. The next part of teaching is we also have to acknowledge the difficult psychology of it. Owning assets is the ultimate marshmallow test. You might have heard about that experiment they did. I think it was at Stanford with the children, where if they didn't eat the marshmallow in front of them, they were told they get a second at the end. But many kids still couldn't resist. Buying stuff is a dopamine hit, while investing is rather slow. You can't wear a share of the S&P 500 to school, and you can't drive an index fund. But we can attempt to teach them that the index fund will do more to help their future self than a shiny new toy ever will. Fortunately, many people learn the lesson of ownership the hard way through life experience in adulthood. But if you can teach this to your kids or grandkids while they're young, you're giving them the ultimate cheat code, which is time, because assets compound, producing income, and then that income can be reinvested to grow even more. If a teenager starts maxing out a Roth IRA with their summer job money and continues throughout their working years, they can almost guarantee they'll retire a millionaire, even if they never make a six-figure salary. Show them a compound interest calculator. If they invest $1,000 at age 15 and earn an 8% return until age 65, that one contribution grows into almost 50,000. Compounding is pretty incredible. So if you want to help prevent your kids and grandkids from getting stuck on the financial hamster wheel, teach them to work hard, also teach them to save diligently and to buy assets. That's the path toward financial freedom instead. I'd love to hear from you. If you found a good way to teach your kids or grandkids about money, let me know down below in the comments. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm Josiah Martin, and I'll see you in the next video.